Can Scotty become the GOAT of TPC? Let's see. All right, we are back with another episode of the Swoosh Life Podcast, Season 5, Episode 2, number 76. I'm going to just keep listing all the numbers. And we are back with a very special guest, Mr. Jacques Slade, here in the house, joining us today. Welcome back, sir. Welcome back to the podcast.
Yo, thank you for having me. I always enjoy doing this podcast because it's like everything that I do all in one. It's like I do other podcasts that are like, oh, it's sneakers, or oh, it's golf, or oh, it's cameras, or it's this. This is like everything combined into one place. And so it's like the perfect storm for me.
And unfortunately, it's with us three bozos. So
yeah.
With that, we appreciate
I left
that
part out. I left that part out. Didn't want to start anything. Didn't want the audience to backlash. But now that you've mentioned it, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
What Jacques leaving out is that I made everybody wait 12 minutes because I'm I am tech challenged.
Diva is the word I was thinking, but
diva and a diva. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kick right off. Let's just get right into 3, 2, 1. You are a 3-time guest. You are our first 3-time guest. So we're going to ask you questions that result in either 3 answers, 2 answers, or 1 answer going up.
Okay.
And for this season, I got some fun ones here. So I need 3 golf-related snack items. So this is way I'm going to suggest that you could break this up is it could be on the way to the course, running late.
Okay.
You got to hit a drive-through, right? We will absolve you of any bioengineered foods or anything like that. It could be on the course.
I appreciate that.
The second one can be on the course. So, the glizzy is the fallback. I hate saying glizzy, by the way. And then the third one would be after, if you're staying at the course, if there's a specific thing that you crave sometimes. Like for me, there's a golf course here in Illinois called Blackstone. The chef came from Minnesota, I believe, and does a Juicy Lucy. So it's like, I don't usually eat at the course, but I will stay and eat at that Juicy Lucy. So if you want to break it up, or if there's 3 items just like that, go right ahead, sir. The floor is yours.
Okay, first, I've never heard of a Juicy Lucy, and I'm kind of offended by the term. So, but let's start with the 3 things that we, first, I think everyone should have this as a kind bar, just like in the bag, just for emergency purposes. Sometimes you get out early, you don't have time to grab breakfast, and you're out there, and by the time you get to like the 7th or 8th hole, you're like, yo, I'm hungry. Kind bar. Just pull the kind bar out. I have been playing with some older gentlemen at my muni, and they pack lunches in their bags. So they'll go out and play, but they'll have like a bag of cashews, they'll have a drink, they'll have like a couple sandwiches, and they just munch on those throughout the round. And I'm like, yo, I'm spending all of this money. Do you know what the price of eggs are right now? So I'm going to say my second one is like, you bring a lunch with you. I don't know if that's PB&J, that's bologna and cheese, whatever it is. You just bring that with you, and then you bring your water, which is what we should be drinking anyway.
Yep.
So that's number 2. And then the third one is, I guess it depends on the club. So if they have good food, you know what I mean? So like Sand Valley, they have amazing tacos. Like, ooh. I would 100%. Like, I'm all in on the tacos at Sand Valley. If I'm at Sand Valley, I'm all in for the tacos. But generally, and what else? Where else have I been that there was something? There's a course out in Orange County, and they have really good burritos. So that's like a third. And then I would say probably the go-to fallback is if I'm not prepared and I just want to snack on something, I'll get fries.
Nice.
I don't usually do the glizzy. I like fries.
I'm with you. I will say this is the kind of intel that I wanted to get because Sand Valley is on my list of possibles this year. So it's like now I know to stay at Sand Valley and actually eat the tacos there instead of like just rushing off the course as me and my friends are apt to do.
No. Sand Valley is an experience. Honestly, it's probably one of like the best place, like my favorite places that I've played. Like it makes that top list. And I've been lucky enough to play some really nice courses, but I think the experience at Sand Valley is just really, really great. Obviously, I was with a couple of friends too, so obviously that helps a lot when you're with your real close buddies. So that matters. But they have like really great sandwiches. All the food is pretty much good. They have these little like protein balls that you
Ooh.
can get when you play that are really, really nice, like just to kick you off in the morning. It's just, I mean, they just do it right. They do it right there. Like it's a walk. You can't really ride unless you really like unless there's for a medical reason. And so like it's just a really great experience overall. I'm all in on Sand Valley, and the tacos just push it over the top.
I love it. Number 2 on this one. Are you Uncrustable, by the way, guy? Uncrustable guy? When you said PB&J?
Yeah, I don't mind them. I don't mind them. Yeah.
They're not awful. They're not awful. Number
Yeah.
2 in 3, 2, 1. What is your current favorite on-course and off-course shoe? What shoe of the moment do you really love rocking off-course and on-course?
So on course, there's like a 2-part
Okay.
answer there.
As a 3-time guest, I will allow it.
Three times guess. I'm really enjoying the Code Chaos. I've been wearing that, but I've been wearing the BOA version on the range. I just feel I was very anti-BOA, and don't tell the guys at My Golf Spy about this, but I'm starting to kind of convert a little bit into a BOA guy, especially for like quick range changes. If I'm like just hopping out the car, grabbing my clubs, and want to throw on a quick pair, I think BOA is the way to go. Again, don't tell anybody at My Golf Spy. Those guys are relentless at me about that. But then on course, I'm still wearing my Jordan 12s, honestly. Like those are just, I think those are the best Jordan retro golf shoe. Of all the shoes that are like Jordan has made for the golf, I think the Jordan 12 Low is the best one by far, in my opinion. Like nothing else matches up to it. The ones are great for just like a shoe, but if you want to mix like the Jordan retro style and a little bit of performance, I shouldn't even say a little bit of performance, I'll say performance, then the Jordan 12 Low is my go-to for that.
I said it was the golf shoe of the year. I don't think the 6 or the 9 lived up to it. I think the 12 has done right. That's why I'm excited for the 14. I think the 14 is built similarly. So at least outsole wise. Now, here's the one. I always hate when we make guests wait till the end to plug something. You're a man of many things going on. What is the one thing you'd love to plug this week? And tell us about it that you're proud of, that you've achieved in the past year.
Honestly, I don't have anything to plug. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to talk to you guys, talk more about Nike golf. If I'm going to plug anything, it's people that are, I was going to say more people need to listen to this, but if they're already listening to this, then they don't need to listen to this. But it's more about this show. Tune in. Make sure you're tuning into the show. Make sure you're leaving 5 stars. Make sure you're leaving a great review, and make sure you're sharing it with your friends, and you're sharing all their stuff on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. That's the plug. Nothing about me. Make sure you're showing these guys love when you're listening to the podcast and getting it out there. The more people hear it, the better. It's a great product. It's amazing what they do. So make sure you share it and show them some love. That's my one plug for the day.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Thank you.
That was awesome. Right to our hearts. As always, 3-time guest, really just bringing it home. That's awesome to hear. I'm stunned right now. Matt, you got to keep going. That was awesome.
No, this is great. And this is what I love is like when Jacques comes on, I get to stretch my legs out into the sneaker world, right? So one of the things is that in the past year, a lot of people have been saying, Nike's down. It's very trendy to say last year that Nike was down. And the truth is, they launched their CEO, so they were down a little bit, right? So, new CEO comes in. I think All-Star Game, we see Elliott Hill. He's helping Converse launch Shy. He's out there launching the Black Pack. We've seen an actual NBA All-Star Pack come out for once. That's been a while in the making. So there's so many ways we can go. But the one thing I do want to go to, and for those of you that are on video, I planted these. These are the LeBron 15 Prime. You remember the LeBron watch days?
Yeah.
And recently, I think, Gumby, I've sent you some pictures if you can pull those up.
I will pull them up.
There's this idea that, and I wonder if this is going to translate into the golf world. So I'm going to ask for 2 thoughts. First off, LeBron 21, 22 Fusion, Prime
22,
Fusion.
yeah.
Yep. Been playing in the 22s also. I like what they've done the last 3 years with LeBron. I know it's kind of gone Kobe-esque, but that's okay, in my opinion. Your thoughts on this one? And 2, would you like to see something where Rory's shoe, the Victory Tour 4, or the Victory Pro 3, which is Scotty's new shoe, launching on... we're going to be one day out of embargo. I can't say the date. It is this month. Okay, cool. Do you think golf needs to do some of this retro mixing type of thing?
I would love if golf took this. But here's the thing. This works because we have a LeBron signature line. No one else has a signature line in Nike Golf. Not a real signature line. It's almost like what Blake Griffin did with Jordan. How Blake had a shoe But Blake, when Blake was with Nike, like Blake had like the Hyper Dunk, but
Yep.
it wasn't really Blake's shoe. And that's what it feels like at Nike. It's like everyone has a shoe like the Victory or whatever it is, but it doesn't feel like this is the Rory one or this is the Scotty one. It always feels like they're just like the ambassador for this shoe. I think this works with LeBron because it has a deep storytelling with LeBron. This is LeBron's shoe, but they're doing a Deion version of LeBron's shoe, which we know who inspired LeBron. But like, I want it to happen in golf. I do. I would love for it to happen in golf, but we don't have that sort of rich storytelling on footwear in golf that we need in order to pull something like this off. At least I don't think so.
I think that's fair.
And they tried it a little bit with Brooks. Now my question is, do you think that this LeBron 21 fusion does the Diamond Turf justice? I'm of the opinion, and this is just me, I think the swoosh kills it actually. I think the red window was the key to the Diamond Turf, the gold window, I should say. But wondering what your thoughts are on this design element here.
I mean, I think it's clear where the inspiration came from, and I think in that regard they're winning. Like LeBron, obviously the LeBron watch means like those had like the full shape of the primes, so that made a little more sense. This is you're trying to convert it to a low, so it's almost like they like smashed it down kind of thing. It's like they went from like a Rory to a Micah Morris kind of thing, but it still kind of works. It works for me.
What a great comp.
Yeah.
I got one more sneaker golf retro question. We recently I was at the outlet this past week, and there are so many colors of the Lunar Roam out. And I think you remember that whole Lunar Lawn era. And that's around the time that Nike first signed Rory McIlroy. Hard to believe that we're talking about 10 plus years ago. With the Lunar Roam coming back, what if instead of doing Victory Pro 3s and Tour 4s, what if we just brought back the Lunar Control 1, 2, or 3? Do you think retros have a place? Would they be limited, or would you just run it back and protro this with React or ZoomX or something?
So the tough thing that I see with golf, and that, when I first got into the golf space 5, 7, whatever years ago, I was very like, bring shit back. Let's do some sneaker shit in golf. But like, it's so hard because golf guys, for the most part, just don't give a shit. Like they beat their shoes up. They don't have an affinity for them. There's no attachment to golf shoes in the way that we have attachment to basketball shoes or lifestyle sneakers. And I think that is where you find some of the trouble. Like even with like the TW13, when they brought the TW13 back, I was like, yes, this is going to be a moment. This is going to be a moment. But it didn't hit the way that I thought it was going to hit. And like, that's as close as you can get to a Jordan, a Kyrie, or a KD in the golf space ever. Like, period. Like, that's about as close as you can get is the TW13. Like, that's the closest sneaker equivalent, at least in my mind. You guys know this better than me. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I feel like that's the closest equivalent to getting, like, a Jordan retro. And it was great, and some people were into it, but it didn't exactly click the way that I thought. I thought they were going to just be, like, flying off the shelves and people were going to be going crazy. But
we said it here. We thought that would be the thing. And Tommy wore them a couple times. But
Tommy wore them a lot.
But TW never did, right? And that was the thing as well. You have to have your person kind of wear them a little bit when they're still playing, right? Like, it's bringing it back after they're done playing in like a Jordan or something like that. Then that's different. But that's not what we got. And then obviously things started to change, with Tiger and everything like that. So, I agree. I think we all thought here, we thought here on the podcast, and just me personally, that like the TW13 would be the biggest hit. I'm glad I have a couple. I'll tell myself
same.
that.
Same.
It's
100%.
my favorite. So at least the people that wanted it got it, and that's great. But don't think we'll see that again, right, Matt?
I think there's three things. I think there's three things that played into that. And the three things were, one, price point. They came back at $220, I want to say. I think any of these shoes touching 2+, especially in today's climate, is tough. I think 2, Tiger was wearing FootJoys. He didn't even wear them. Like, he didn't even throw them on, to like push his own retro. And of course, we know that the relationship with Nike was strained at the time. And then third, I think it became okay to not like TW towards the end of that Nike run by golfers. I think oh gosh, like I hate to like name names because I hate like stereotyping folks, but you know that kind of like oh, you know, he's a cheater and he's this and he's that, and a lot of this is his own fault of the stuff that's happened to him. And look, we're human, we all have flaws, so like I don't bring that up to knock him down. He's always going to be a hero of mine. Huge respect for Tiger, but I think those three things, like I don't think it's like I always tell people Michael Jordan is like the one guy who never disappointed anybody. Think about it.
Yeah.
Like I hate to say 6-0, but 6-0, right? You've never seen him mess up in the finals. He comes back to the Wizards. He's trying to build his thing. So like that's like I think the KD retros are even falling flat a little bit. Like the KD, they've retroed the 5 and the 4, I believe now. And but I also do you think Kevin Durant tarnished his legacy with the Golden State stuff? Right or wrong? I mean, empowerment.
Yeah. Right or wrong, I think the shifting of KD around has lost some of the loyalty that consumers would have had for him. And even with Tiger, I don't know if it was necessarily it became cool to hate Tiger, so to speak. I just think that the Nike golf of it all had lost so much of its luster by the time that those came back that people were just like, it is what it is. But it just lost so much. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, do you think they brought those back to kind of maybe save and get Nike Golf back into the market, bringing back the retro teed up 13s?
I mean, if they did, they waited too long. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like they should have did this a long time ago. That should have been a thing a while ago, and they waited till seemingly the last minute to get it done right, which is disappointing.
I think you said something there, Jacque, that not cool to hate on Tiger so much, but almost cool to hate on Nike a little bit. Like at that point in time, Nike became, is such a large brand in this space. And over the last couple of years, we've seen so many small brands start really popping up and really taking over the space. You can go to Bad Birdie, you can go to Good, you can go to all these little, things that have kind of really, truly attributed to that. And so I think it kind of became popular in a sense to kind of hate on Nike because like they don't need it, they got it, and I think Nike took that like fall back, a little like fall from grace a little bit, and we can transition here a little bit, but we talked about it on the last podcast. We declared in a sense that Nike Golf has never left, but they are slightly back. And so I kind of want to get your views on, and it can be critical, I'm critical, we're always critical of where you think Nike Golf is at this year, into the future, and from the past and all that stuff.
I think Nike Golf is in a very challenging position right now. They came from this place of, I will say, excellence, where they really kind of had the world's attention, the golf world's attention, and even a little bit outside of the golf world's attention. At those like to, let's say, I don't know, 2017, 2015, 2016, 2017. Like they had the space on lock. And I think they were too early with what they were doing. And I don't want to say that hurt them because it planted the seeds for what we see today, I think, in the golf space with all these like streetwear brands really stepping into the space and really exploring the edges of the culture of golf. So I think Nike just got ahead of it. And because I'll say for business reasons, because they didn't see I think Nike didn't see the sort of returns that they wanted to see from it, they pulled back. But I think they pulled back too far. Instead of just being like, all right, we'll chill a little bit until the market comes around and understands what's happening. I think they were like, this isn't working. Let's shut things down. And because of that, I think they've lost some of the cultural currency that they had. And that's where they are now, and that's where a lot of their challenges lie now, because it's similar to what happened in a bit in the running space, where all these different running companies started coming up and eating Nike's lunch, and it's kind of happening in the golf space as well. You have all these other golf brands, small and large and otherwise, kind of coming up and eating Nike's lunch, and because they removed the people that understood the culture and that understood the world of golf from the Nike golf teams, got rid of the Nike golf Twitter, like all of those sorts of things, they lost the connection with the audience. And the audience, as you guys know, they drive a lot of the conversation that's happening around the sport right now. But Nike pulled too far back. And so that conversation wasn't happening. That one-to-one conversation with Nike Golf wasn't happening. And it showed up in more places than just, it wasn't just like in the culture. It was also in the product that they were delivering. The product they delivered started getting boring and bland and stopped taking risk. And it was very like basics. Let's get the basics out there. But the shape and the world of golf was shifting so much in that time. Like golf 2017 and golf 2025 are two totally different sports. The way that the sport is looked at, the way that athletes see themselves, the way that the consumer sees golf, the way that the larger world sees golf, all of those things have changed, and Nike hasn't been able to change with them. And that, you know, from someone that was a part of the Nike Golf Club and all of those things, that's challenging. You know what I mean? That's challenging because, you know, like you guys had it. Like you had, like, you were walking around with the plate. You were serving people. But now you've taken it all away, and people don't want you anymore. Like if you're in a restaurant and there's like, is everything? No, we're fine. Thank you. We're fine. We have what we need here. You know what I mean? And that's really a challenging place for them to be in. From some of the rumors and things that I've heard, like they're trying to turn things around, but they're coming into a totally different space now, and they've got to look at that space through a different lens, and they've got to celebrate athletes. Like I literally emailed the chief communications officer for Nike when they put out that congratulations Instagram message for Scotty and Nelly for players of the year. And like, I was like, it's not even my brand, but I was incensed. Like, I don't like, what is this? Who put this together, and why is this is not how Nike celebrates athletes. This is not how you show an athlete love. This is not how you guys celebrate the player of the year in their respective category. If that was a Nike football athlete, a Nike soccer athlete, hell, a Nike baseball athlete, you guys would have done more than that. Like, and I shouldn't say baseball like that. No disrespect to the baseball squads out there. I said baseball like it was the bottom of the barrel, and I apologize for that.
Yeah, they still have Trout.
Yeah, they still have Trout. But like, if Trout won Player of the Year, it would be, oh my God, it'd be on billboards, it'd be everywhere. But for that, it was just like, oh, we'll give you guys an Instagram post. We'll give you an Instagram post and use the font from the marketing campaign that we used 6 months ago. It was just like, come on.
Yeah, we criticized that because we were like, it's not the best, but at that point in time, you're almost thinking,
you guys got to be like, don't
we
be like,
weren't
oh,
getting
it's not
anything.
the best. Like, no, this is trash. Y'all do better.
But like we said, we weren't getting anything, so we were just like, yeah, cool, we got something. You know what I mean? Like, because that's how far it had dropped off. Right? Exactly. You're starved.
Yeah.
That you'll take the breadcrumbs because you got nothing.
I get that. Yeah, I get that. I get that. But, I'll be fair. I was like, they did something.
Right.
All right.
Yes.
They did something.
I think that's how we felt.
I'll say word on the street is that it came together very quickly, and that's why if it feels rushed or not as robust as it should have been, there's good reason, right? But I think you can read the tea leaves, right? Elliott came in August. Elliott goes back in August, and then it's like, okay, I think they're redistributing power, because I kind of see this in the basketball space too, where they kind of took the power away from the individual sports, right? Like, it wasn't that the article that Jordan Rogers said that they reorganized to men, women, kids. Like, that's how everything is, right? So if basketball is important to men, basketball gets more money in the men's department, and so on. But I think Elliott's going back to like sports specific. One of the things that we talked about was full swing, and we were talking about apparel in general, because one of the things was we felt like the Nike booth was great execution of the booth, looked great. But then once you got inside the booth,
for
PGA.
PGA show?
PGA show.
Yeah. Talking about for the
so
PGA
I have
show.
questions about that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Go ahead. I have questions about that. Go ahead.
But,
go ahead.
Yeah, the thing was, who do you think is doing a good job in the apparel space right now? Like, who's doing a great job, whether it's pricing or designs? Is there any apparel maker that stands out right now? Or is it more the Malbons of the world that are connected to the culture and are doing a better job marketing their story than, say, necessarily product.
Yeah, I mean, it's all, to be fair, it's all marketing. It's all marketing. All of it is, everything's the same, essentially. Everything's pretty much the same. The quality varies from brand to brand, but pretty much it's all the same thing. It's all a quarter zip. It's a polo, it's a hoodie, it's a sweatshirt. Like, they're all doing the same thing. It's just how you market it and the audience that you're being able to reach. Maybe the cuts are a little different, but rain pants, it's all the same thing. I would say Malbon is probably doing the best in that space, like, of marketing themselves as an outsider to the space, but that has a genuine love and care for the space. Manor, they're doing this. They have a really, like, they feel very authentic to the space, but they also feel authentic to themselves. Who else? Adidas. I think what Adidas is doing with, like, their internal collaboration. So they had that back, maybe it was October, something like that. They had their skate collab where they did, like, skate products, but for the golf course. And I was like, this is okay. Yes, this is the way to do it. This is how you turn the corner and open up your brand to a bigger audience. Because, I mean, we all know that, like, skate guys absolutely love golf. Everybody from Sean Malto to Eric Costin, like, they're golfers. Like, they're locked in.
Got this one, Gumby. I got this one. Just careful what you wish for there, because a friend of the program and former host of this show, Nick Spears, firmly believes that the love of skateboarding and the obsession with Janowskis and Chinos was the downfall of Nike in 2015 and 16. He just swears that it was, like, too much, right? Like, it was too much. Like, I appreciate bringing West Coast skateboard culture into golf. I thought it was great, but it felt like that was the only culture coming into golf at the time. So yeah, no, to your point.
Yeah.
So
it's
good as a collab. Good as a collab, not as a 3-year.
Yeah, good as
not as a 3-year program.
Yeah, not as a full plan. So, but it's good to see, like, in my opinion, it's good to see a big brand like that taking that sort of risk internally and being like, hey, yeah, let's put something together that speaks more to the culture than it does to the performance golfer kind of thing. And I think that's where you're seeing a lot of, they're starting to cater to the majority of people that play golf, not just the elite people that play golf, which I think is a bigger conversation. And you're starting to see a little bit more personality out of these guys, which I think is going to open up the world so those things become more common. I think there's a 100% opportunity there. And I think Nike is going to have to get on it, but they're coming late to the game. Like, I don't doubt that Nike has people way, way smarter than me to make this work and to get back into the golf space, and it's going to take a lot of money. But also, a lot of the people in the golf space, and the golf space isn't that big, a lot of those people already have dedicated deals, and they're already doing business somewhere else. So Nike is going to have quite an uphill battle in order to break back into that space. It's almost like when Nike SB first started, they've got to kind of find their way again and prove their bona fides again for people to really start to mess with them. Only person that I know of in the golf influencer, like, non-pro space is Haley Lee. She's the only person that I know, unless there's somebody else that you guys know of.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody else out of golf. Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna be a tough sell all by herself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing about building a community, right? Like, that's the hard thing about building one. And I think the smaller brands have done a better job of doing it. Absolutely. Yes. And I think what the big brands, I guess that's just me, is like, when big brands try to feel small, it falls flat, I think, right? So, like, is it Adidas leveraging skateboarding? Is it you leverage your other athletes, your other sports? Because we're all former athletes of another sport, and you bring those folks in, that kind of thing. Like, I mean, DJ Khaled for Jordan. I mean, yes, he's got thoughts. I love it. I started something. Go.
No. I think Khaled is fantastic for the sport. I think he's wonderful for the sport, but I also think that Jordan Brand only works with a certain caliber of celebrity, and I don't think that you can afford to do that anymore. I think
it's not enough.
It's not enough. Khaled isn't enough. Khaled, there should be and these are just going to say types. There should be a Khaled type. There should be a Haley Alstrom type. There should be a Jacque type. There should be a Roger type. There should be a Grant Horvat type. Like, they should all have all of these types. There should be a Trotty type. There should be, like, a Me and My Golf type. All of these should be Jordan people pushing the narrative of Jordan golf. And right now, all you have is Khaled. And Khaled is not going to get the job done. He can do his celebrity thing. Yes, everybody loves him because of celebrity, but there's so much of a disconnect there that I think people are missing out. Our Jordan brand is missing out on a lot of opportunity in this space.
I think you kind of brought it up. I think these capsules are kind of like what, like I think like Nike's kind of missing on a little bit too. I think Adidas does a really good job with their capsule space, and so does Malvin. Malvin's marketing for capsules is really good. It's like a a skit, and then there's more stuff that follows it to kind of push it through.
Yeah.
Say Nike could have a capsule with an up and coming little like brand collab kind of thing. Do you have one out there that you would want to see? Do you have one that you would be like, that would be really dope? That would be really cool to see them push it and then try and connect?
God, that's a great question. I think Manners makes the most sense right now. They have the most, I think, cultural currency, so to speak, and they're also like, and I hate to say it, they're big enough that Nike would feel comfortable working with them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this is what Eastside Golf was going to be, but it just doesn't seem. That's more of a Jordan thing as opposed to a Nike thing. But like, I'd love to see Nike Golf work with Manners. I'd love to see Nike Golf do something special with Kith. But these have to be like special things. These just can't be the run-of-the-mill collaborations. They've got to be special. They've got to have some teeth to them, and they need to work in the golf space and outside of the golf space. Nike Golf will bring the golf bona fides. Kith, Union, whoever can bring the street level aesthetic to it. So yeah, I think that's kind of where I would start. Like even like these guys, Buena Gente Golf. They're not huge, but they bring such a cultural. Yeah, they bring such a cultural relevance to the game that Nike just does not have. And I think that's kind of what they need at the moment is these touch points. Like they need these things, like it's almost like a spider web, and they're here, but they need to find these people that are working over here on the tree, so to speak. And like that web hasn't reached the tree. So they need these people can like help make that connection for them. So it's tough. It's a tough game, and it's not easy for them.
Yeah.
And
I feel like they tried
know that they can.
Yeah. I feel like they tried it with Nocta like a couple of years ago, but I feel like it wasn't big. That's not big enough to kind of stretch, and it's still like a slightly internal thing, So I just don't think that it worked as well. And so maybe they feel like they got burnt by that, but I agree. I think like there's collabs in my eyes. There's collabs that are kind of full range, stuff. And then there's capsules. And I think the capsule is what we need. And that's the Kith capsule. Like, that's the Manners kind of thing.
Yeah.
That would be that specialty thing. We already see how well they do stuff with major releases. I think that's their like bread and butter. What they're so good at is these major releases, and we love them here on the podcast. But like just a couple more of these little like maybe 1 to 2 capsules a year would be like phenomenal. I think to kind of push it back into the space and back into relativity.
Like I think about the TaylorMade Kith collab. Like who knew that would have that sort of energy behind it? Like that was such a moment in the space. And so like Nike Golf needs that, I think. And I also think that they need to like bank on women. Like they have Nelly and they're doing absolutely nothing with her.
We asked about like a roster, about like just who are our people. I think we have the best men's roster in golf, right? I think it's one of the like greatest rosters of athletes. But on the women's side, you're trying to find the people other than Nelly. Like there's maybe Gabby Ruffles, but like she's like again kind of more Symmetra or whatever. I think that's what the tour is still. Like she's not fully on LPGA. And then Cheyenne is kind of off a little bit, and Suzanne Patterson doesn't this anymore. Michelle's gone now. So it's just where are the women? Where's the women's side? And because women's sports is growing to an exponential space right now. I think that's awesome and great, and take notes from the WNBA and move forward how you're treating, they did a really great Super Bowl ad for Nike women, the Skims collab, I think is huge for Nike women in the future.
Oh, that's probably going to be like that's going to be one of the biggest businesses at Nike. I'm telling you,
Yes.
like that the Nike Skims thing is going to be so massive for that brand. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be insane.
I think that's one of the reasons they did. And I know Keith has some golf questions coming up here, but I think that's, to your point.
We've done this whole show with no golf questions.
I love it. That's what we're all about.
That's
we're
what I
about all
love.
of it.
Yeah.
But, to your point, Jacques, of we used to have it. We used to have it all. We used to be a proper society. They did the capsules. That's where, like, my beloved Nike Golf poncho came from. It came from a capsule. It just wasn't tied to, like, a major. So they used to do that stuff. My last streetwear question kind of goes back to the ladies. And last few years, New Balance, Asics, Sauconys are having their moment kind of out in the streets with the young kids and stuff. And I go to one of those trampoline parks for a kid's birthday party yesterday. And I noticed it's like, okay, so all the moms have Sambas or they have New Balance and all the dads have Ons. And to your point of golfers just beating the crap out of their golf shoes, all these dads that were like, I ain't buying Nike no more. I'm going to buy some On running shoes. Man, y'all are beating those things up. It's time to buy the second pair. It is time to buy a new set. Where is streetwear going? Where are we looking at? I feel like Nike's starting to make a little bit of a comeback, but in general, I think we're past the Panda Dunk era. I think we were just at the end of it last year. What's the next hot thing on teenage kids that the parents will co-opt?
Vomeros.
That the parents will co-opt. I think it's going to be running. I think running shoes are going to have a moment now. I think we went through like the retro Panda Dunk stuff, and I think the next phase is going to be like versions of runners. Like has a chance with it. I think with like that the Pegasus Premium, I think is probably going to be one of, if not the best shoe that Nike releases this year. But I think they priced it too high. I think it's $210, I believe it is $210 or $220. Like that's just too expensive, and it's a great shoe. Feels incredible, and it has like all the notes of like a true Nike shoe. Like has the big branding, has the tech, it's going to have the colors, it's going to have everything that it has. I should say it has all of the things that a Nike shoe needs, but they're pricing it out of a place where general consumers go, oh, okay, I'm going to get me a pair of these. It's okay to have it to be a little bit aspirational, but I think it's past the aspirational thing. I think it's what I call like an intention purchase now, where you've got to like think about buying it as opposed to just buying it when you see a pair. So, but I think running's going to rule the space. I think we went through the Pandas thing, but I think running is going to rule the space for the next year or so.
Yeah, awesome, Doc. Thanks for all that information. And hold on, I want to rewind back to when our first question to you, Jacques, was about bringing food on the course, what your pregame meal was.
Yes.
When everybody watches the YouTube video, please rewind it to the first 5 minutes and see Matt pick up a Taco Bell Baja Blast, because that is that is one of my go-tos with the quesadilla if I'm a little run late to golf. But just to bring it back to golf a little bit, the state of the game, we always get into this between Gummy and Matt and I, the state of the game. Live, PGA. There's a big week coming up. We have TPC Sawgrass coming up. The players. We have 48 of the top 50 players in the field. We are missing big names, though, that are still on the Live Tour. How do you feel about the state of the game? And little side question is, I know you've been playing. How often you've been playing? And how's the swing been? But let's get into maybe a little Live and PGA a little bit.
Live PGA. I think the Live PGA conversation has gotten really interesting lately. I think all of the guys, both on both tours, really miss the competition, but I think the Live guys miss it more, especially the Live guys that are dogs. You know what I mean? Like there's some guys that are good at golf and they're just good at golf and that's what they do. But there are also some guys that are like they're animals out there and they want to eat every time they get on the golf course. And I feel like those guys are missing the PGA Tour a little more because one, the conversation just around the game, not to say these guys are narcissists or anything like that, but if you're on the PGA Tour, you're talking about Scotty, you're talking about Rory, you're talking about Colin. Even you could have won every tournament as a Live golfer and your name is not in the news the way that Scotty's name is, the way that Rory's name is, the way that Colin's name is. They're just not talking about you in that
There's
same
only
way.
one.
Yeah.
There's only one that they're talking about, and I believe that's because it's of his personal like branding and his personal like
Right.
way that he's going about it with Bryson.
Yeah, and that's Bryson. And he's made his way.
With YouTube and YouTube Golf and the creators that he works with and the people that he gets on his channel. That's the only one that you're hearing of. Even like Brooks, you only hear at the majors, like
at the majors or when he shows up to TGL. Like you
Yeah.
just don't hear about them. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like they're probably talking if we're going to keep it a buck, they're talking about Grant, they're talking about Good. They're talking about the Bryan Bros more than they're talking about Brooks, more than they're talking about anybody else on Live.
Yeah.
And like that shouldn't be the case. No disrespect to the Bryan Bros and Good and Grant and all of those guys. Like they're doing amazing work. Like I love what they're doing, and 100% as an influencer, I get it. But there's no reason Brooks should be a second thought. Like Brooks shouldn't be a second thought at all. And that's where they are right now. And that just doesn't make sense. So I think the dogs that are on Live Golf, I think they want to get back on the tour. One for the competition, but also because they know that Live is not going to provide them the sort of cultural currency that they get by playing on the PGA Tour.
Yeah. Little side action question. We'll get to your golf game and everything like that. But TGL, have you happened to have a chance to get down there yet to see the stadium or anything?
Yes, I've seen it in person and I've seen it on television. In person, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's good both sides, but there is something about being there in person. But that's like any sport, you know what I mean? And especially at TGL because it's not a massive stadium. It's a pretty small in terms of stadium. It's pretty small. And so you're pretty close to the action no matter what seat you're in. And so that's just going to naturally feel different than watching it on television. Although and I'm sure you guys have heard this, in person you don't hear the players versus when you watch it on TV. It's really a made for TV product, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's not a made for live thing. Like that's what I guess tournaments are more live, but the whole production around TGL is made for TV. So you lose some of the things about the TV the TV showing that pull you in. You miss those live, but there's the energy and the aura, for lack of a better word, of being there live that you miss when you watch it on TV as well.
Yeah, I feel like that's what we've all talked about is like it's a good thing just to throw on if you're home at night. You get the in-person, experience with the players talking to each other, bickering at each other. They hit a bad shot or the simulator, effed up a little bit and they thought they hit a beautiful shot. You get to hear all that. And it's cool to see and hear all that as well. How's the golf game? I'm sure we're going to get into TPC right after this. So how's the state of your golf game?
The golf game is still trash. Basura.
I think that's 3 years in a row you said that.
Yes, and that part hasn't changed. The swing, the swing though is getting better. I just had so many bad habits from years of not taking lessons, and I've been taking lessons for like the last 4 years, and I am slowly but surely getting to a better place with my golf game, just with movements and the way that I move my body, and it's all like the feels, all those things that golf guys like to nerd out over. All those things are starting to come. So I think I believe, fingers crossed, that this year will be a big transition year for me as far as my game goes. Because I don't have a problem hitting the ball far. Like I can hit the ball far. It's a gift that I was just giving that I didn't have to work for. But
that's a good one.
yeah. It's a gift, but it's not good if you're hitting it, 40 yards into the rough.
Far.
Yeah. If you can't control it. So the thing that I'm working at, and why I always say that I'm trash on here, because the thing that I'm working at is controlling everything. I have to control the swing. It's the distance is there. I can get it there, but controlling it is the hardest thing for me. And I have so many bad habits from trying, from hitting it far and relying on that I have to really like taper myself down. And so this year, I think with the lessons that I've been getting, shout out to Brad, who's my instructor down here at my local Muni. He's been getting me right, and he sees the improvements. Obviously, I want to improve a lot faster, so I struggle with the want to be better quicker. But it's coming. He reminds me, pretty much every lesson, like, look, you're not doing the massive backswing anymore. You don't have the reverse pivot anymore. Like, you're not doing all of these things anymore. So now we're just fine tuning things. So it's one of those things where I think I've gotten 80% of it. And so it's that last 20 that I'm working through to really like fine tune the game to where I want it to be. I'm delusional enough to think that I could be really, really good at this game. So that hasn't gone away.
You're going to put your name in the ring for this Creator Classic that we've got going on for next year, and whatnot, like the Creator Classic coming up on March 12th here.
That's the hope.
TPC Sawgrass. Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, that's the hope. They're doing 3 this year from what I understand. So my hope is that I can make it in by the 3rd one, that I can get good enough and start creating content around it that I can make it into the 3rd one. Yeah,
I'd love to see you there. That'd be great. Let's get into the TPC little talk and stuff like that. So we have an Air Max shoe coming out for the TPC, and we're going to bring it up here, and we're going to kind of rank it like we always do, score it, and see how it is. Matt, you ready to kind of rank and score this GOAT shoe?
Ooh, so I actually want to ask a question to Jacques about this as you bring it up. Yep. So hot off the press, we just posted the reel today. We're recording on a Monday. Is that the news is that there will be 2 versions of this shoe. So as Gummy brings it up, you're going to see a little goat on top of the Nike golf symbol on the tongue. If you want the little goat on the tongue, you will have to buy this at TPC Sawgrass. You will have to be at the tournament, which Keith is going this week. We're so happy for him. But if you want the little goat on the tongue, you got to be in Ponte Vedra. Otherwise, on the 13th, they're going to launch this. So before we score it, your thoughts on, and you're allowed 2 scores, your thoughts on there being a special version just for the event.
That's, I like it and I don't like it. I like it because it hopefully gets people out to play the game. I mean, to see the games, to see the tournaments happen in person. You know what I mean? It's something for those people that are there, and that's a special thing. And I get that. Like there are those moments. But I also think that Nike Golf is in such a place at the moment that they haven't built up the cultural currency to do a dual release yet. People that I just don't think they built up the cultural currency to do a dual release yet. I get it. Again, I get it and I understand it, and it makes sense why they're doing it, and I understand what they're trying to do, but it's definitely I don't know if it's the right time for that. But also it makes it like, why go to the tournament then if you can just get it? You know what I mean? So I think that's part of the story.
I'm so torn on this. I'm totally torn, just as you are. So just a reminder, our scale is on a scale of 1 to 5. Basically 1, wouldn't touch it. 3, I'll get it at the outlet. 4, job well done. 5 is a perfect shoe. We prefer non-rookie scores. I myself, I'll go first. 4.12 with the GOAT, 3.91 without the GOAT. That's my score there. I'll go right ahead and I'll kick it to you, Jacques.
I'll say a 4.25 with the GOAT and a 4 without the GOAT. Like the thing about the GOAT is so small and you almost miss it, kind of thing. It's not an obvious change. You know what I mean? If you're playing around with someone and you see them, like you almost have to study them to see that it doesn't have the GOAT. And I think that part is like, all right. So I'll just give it a 0.25 demotion for without the GOAT.
You're right down my alley, Jacques, because I do study people's footwear, especially at the golf course. So I would probably pick up on that detail. Plus, the 4 of us knowing that there's one without a GOAT and with a GOAT, I'd be like right up in that person's business, being like, "Oh, yeah, you didn't go to TPC that week to grab those."
This from the guy that's going to TPC. What a flex! What a flex! Oh, you didn't go? Yeah, you didn't go.
Well, I'll be there Friday. So who knows how many are going to be left over. But I know one thing, when you go into the merch tent at TPC, they usually have this shoe or each shoe that they come out with each year for this tournament in a nice glass case. So I will be probably taking pictures of it. Who knows if there's going to be any left by Friday. If there is in a size 14, 12, or 10 and a half, I'd be happy to bring one home for one of the three of us just so we have it in our
That'd be dope.
collection. Yeah, just in our collection. But with the GOAT, I'd probably give it a score of I like it. I like the coloring. The gold is always, makes it pop. It's for the Players Championship. You know what shoe this is for. I'll give it
Yeah.
like a 4.35, and I'll come in like
Okay.
with the GOAT, and then I'll do like a 4.05 just without the GOAT.
Yeah. I like
Tell me
it.
how you feeling about the shoe.
I like them, like, overall. I think they're really clean. You know, me guys, I'm a white shoe guy. I just like them on my feet, looking down at them. So this kind of fit. I'm into the cream colors, or what they're calling coconut milk now is their new favorite color, I think, at Nike. I'm rocking them some apparel that's a little bit coconut milk. This is actually from the Mellow line. Shout out Mellow.
Shout out Mello.
Uh, but there's something to be desired still here. I think that the storytelling is fantastic, right? The goat to the goat. So, if you guys don't know the story about at TPC, it used to be, that they would have the goats, or at Sawgrass specifically, have goats kind of used to roam the area, the land that is Sawgrass. And then they use them to kind of like trim and do stuff with the land and the grass and all that stuff. So, kind of that history tie-in. I think that, again, this is what Nike does best. It's finding the little nuggets of history and little nuggets and relating it back to a shoe. So I love that aspect, with the goat hair on the back, and using an Air Max Plus. I think is a cool, different way. We've seen the Victory line kind of used more often. I think we can go back to a couple of years ago when Rory won in, I believe they were the Pro 1, the Victory Tour 1s,
Yep.
with the all gold plate bottom, which was just fantastic
Great.
timing for Nike to get that and then have Rory win in those. So again, storytelling is fantastic on these. Ranking them, I think they are not in the fours, to be quite honest, because they're the only detail that kind of comes in is the goat hair on the back, and then the goat on the top. I do love the little medallion kind of piece, that the tag that comes with it. I think that is
the
cool.
hang tag. Yeah, the hang
tag is,
gold hang
is
tag.
really good.
But you needed horns, right? You wanted goat horns on this thing or something, right?
I think, like, I'm not sure what I needed on them. Maybe I just need the goat to be there all the time, or something else. But a couple of years ago, we got the treasure map ones down there. Like, these don't stand up. We can't compare these to the same. Like, it's an Air Max. The treasure map ones we ranked in the fours, in the mid fours. These are, we have to admit that these are less than those, right? Like, so I don't believe that they get to a 4. I think it's a 3.9 with the goat, and I think it's a 3.7 without. So that's kind of my rankings. I hate being the critical one. I really do.
That's why I went
don't
first.
have this swoosh on my finger without being critical. But, like, sometimes you got to.
I think this has. I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to say I think this has more to do with the model, the lack of excitement, than it does the story. I think that the Air Max Plus just isn't a popular enough sneaker in the sneaker lexicon,
Sure.
that it warrants the kind of attention that, or the sparkle, so to speak. It doesn't have the aura, again, from
and I said on the last show that I think that the Air Max Plus I'm actually excited about, because I think there is some cool stuff you can do with it, with, like, the way that the kind of finger gonna go over the top and the back. But this one, just, I felt like it just doesn't hit as well as you think it could be. So.
Jacques, I'm so with you on this one, because I am a lover of the Air Max Plus. I think it's one of my favorite Air Max of all time, but I definitely think it's like a sneaker collector's sneaker, right?
Yes.
Like, it's not an Air Max 1, it's not an Air Max 90. That's why, like, I want to see, like, when it comes to college time, if the ladies and the men's golfers, you see them in Air Max 1s and 90s all the time. I don't think you're going to see them in these all white, all black Air Max Pluses. I just don't. I think it's too niche of a sneaker to go mainstream. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But kudos to them for at least picking the sneaker of the moment rather than the Roshi for the waste management.
God. Let's not talk about the Roshi. Let's not talk about Roshi.
Back in the Roshi tour. See, they should have done the Roshi tour.
Is he really?
Apparently, the story is with Golf Digest is that he's wearing them again. They're gonna black out the swoosh because obviously I think he has the Puma deal, right, or something for footwear. But apparently, for reading greens, he was saying that the sole, because it's a pretty minimalist sole, it's pretty low to the ground. It's easier for him to read the greens. That's what I think it was Golf Digest that reported that.
Wow, that's interesting.
I did like the Roche store. I think that was like the best version of like trying to get to a very like sleek, nice like shoe like that, that kind of
with the
rivals,
street,
like
streetwear a little bit,
like a FootJoy style. I mean, you get it kind of in the ADG4 a little bit in AG3 with the Jordan line, but there's not a hard spike, like a spiked shoe. You know what I mean? It's a soft spike. So it's just I think that was like
interesting.
The Roche store is kind of fun though. But
like talking about these sneakers make me think back to like there was a moment when like just creating a different color outsole on a sneaker was like, oh my god, did you guys see what they did? Like, and like that was like the thing. We were like, oh my god, they did a gold outsole, they did a red outsole. Oh my god, like that was that's how bland golf was at one point. That we were excited about a plated outsole.
Right. Yeah. It was like the '92 All-Star game. Pippen shows up in all red shoes, and everybody in the NBA lost their mind. Like that's like how far back.
Goodness gracious, that's wild.
Okay, guys, I have a pitch to you, and this is kind of as we wrap up. This might affect Keith the most. I have a pitch to change the name of Keith's pick to the Winner's Circle. And I think if we all saw that from Nike this past weekend with Scotty winning at AP last year, they did a specialty shoe for Scotty with joining the Winner's Circle with PGA Tour, everything like that. I think one of the best things that Nike's done that's kind of getting back a little bit. Like they actually did something for Scotty there. And so I am motioning to the general public and to you guys to change Keith's pick to the Winner's Circle and creating a season-long race for us and for our viewers to win some Swoosh Life gear and merch. And by entering on Instagram and then getting to who is the closest to winning. And if you pick the closest to the winning, like we do, you get a point and then points that up towards the end of the year. Again, it will only probably be for our 5 majors this year. So you got 5 chances to kind of get to the top. But this is the Winner's Circle. How do we feel?
Let's do all the things Gumby wants to do here.
I'm just trying to like piggyback off momentum with Nike. Like I think that would be.
I like it. I agree. I agree with that. We can change the name as long as you don't make me sound like a Canadian hockey player.
Yeah, I
with
don't.
a big lipper in from last week's episode. So that would be awesome.
About that for those that listen to our first
we'll let
episode.
you know off air, Jacques, what happened last week. But listen to the first 5 minutes.
But I made Keith sound like he got punched in the face by a Canadian, like last night. Matt, are you cool with the Winner's Circle? How you feel about that?
As the defending champion of Keith's pick, I'm totally cool with it. It is your, you are the creator, you are the founder of the podcast, so I yield my vote. Jacques, basically, if you remember, we picked the highest finishing Nike player. We'll give you the field of Nike players that will be at the tournament this week, and then you just have to pick who you think will finish the highest, not necessarily who will win, even though I think we got 2 guys with a real good chance who are past champions. So
yes,
with that,
yes.
I don't know. I feel like I missed somebody out of the field, but right now I have as Nike players in the field for TBC Sawgrass, Cam Davis, Tony Finau, Tommy Fleetwood, Scotty Scheffler, and Rory McIlroy.
Tom Kim.
Tom Kim.
Yep.
Good call.
Yep. I believe that is it.
That's 6 options.
Who's going first?
Am I doing my vote now? Me? Yes. I go first?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Jacques,
who's going to finish?
Entered into winning this year as long as you keep up with us for the majors and everything on Instagram.
Okay. I'm going to go with I'm going to give a bit of an audible here. I'm going to go with Tom Kim at 1. I'm going to say Rory at 2.
You don't have to rank all of them.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm going to
just do all right. So Tom at 1.
Wow,
Tom
breakthrough win. That would be a breakthrough.
Yeah. It'd be a big moment for him. For him.
I think he's game for that too. So that's a great pick. I'm going to stick to my guns and go with who I kind of picked that was playing well, and he did play well and made the cut last week. I'm going with my flowy guy, Tommy Fleetwood again. He's going to win the Players, get the first PGA Tour win, and what better place to start this off is
He's called this last week's podcast where he said that Tommy was going to snap Scotty's win streak here at the Players. So
None of us ever
can't go back on that.
Nope, I'm not going to. And none of us picked Scotty anyways, ever. Last year and never, and he always won. So somebody, please. Matt, who do you got?
Rory's back in his old fairway woods and his old driver. I think he's he's always tweaking. It's like when he messed around with the putter at the right before the Masters. Like stop. Just you've got a month. You've got a month to get to Augusta, dude. Stop messing with that. But for that, I am gonna go with father of baby number 6 now, Tony Finau. I think Tony's been quiet. Let's make something happen, Tony.
He had a good week last week too, as well.
Yeah, the family's there. I believe family's kind of staying. They're on that Florida swing, so with the Disney and everything.
Gumby, who do you got, Gumby? On your new name circle.
Hey, I'm just following Nike's lead here. Let's see, Scotty or Rory. I did a terrible Open. This was a terrible Open, but I'm going to tie it back. Scotty becomes the GOAT of Sawgrass, and he wins for a third straight time at TPC Sawgrass.
All right.
So at the Players, I think that's what he did. And then I think we better see something from Nike then, right? Third time for the charm there, and first ever to go 3 times. We better be seeing something from them, So
that would require some foresight and planning.
Now.
Yes. So who knows? But
they should have something. I'm gonna email. I'm gonna send an email. I'm gonna send an email.
So very, very good show. Thank you so much for joining us, Jacque. We appreciate it as always. And again, you hyped us up, so we appreciate that. But go follow Jacque. He's too good to not. And everything. So
well, thank you guys for having me. I always enjoy being on the show and talking golf and kicks, and it's really like the world that I love so much. If people want to follow me, it's at Kustoo, Kustoo. I'm everywhere on the internet, all at the same time, everywhere at once, in a sense, all under the name Kustoo, Kustoo. But again, if you're watching the show, guys, make sure you share, make sure you leave a comment for them, make sure you give them 5 stars, all the podcast platforms. Hype these guys up. They do a terrific job. Following me is definitely not worth your time, but showing these guys love is. With that, that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Hey, Juicy Lucy is a hamburger stuffed with cheese, by the way. That's what it is.
That's it. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that. I take it back. I was offended by it,
make sure that you wait an extra 5 minutes, because the fatal mistake that most people do is hot off the grill. They start biting into and all the hot cheese from the inside. So it does require some skill and some stuff. But thank you, Jacque. I mean, you bring way more people to us than the other way around. So we appreciate you. We definitely appreciate you. So with that,
for the Swoosh Life Podcast, this has been Matt, Keith, Jacque, and Gumby. We'll see you in the next one. Bye. If you enjoyed today's episode, go follow us at the Swoosh Life Podcast on Instagram, where we have a lot more content. Watch us on YouTube at the Swoosh Life Podcast. Subscribe, like, and leave a comment, and make sure you keep listening to us on all the places that you can find your podcast: Apple, Spotify, and more. We'll see you in the next one. This has been the Swoosh Life Podcast.
Checks over stripes, yeah, that's what I like. Yeah. That's what we like. Yeah.